Hello and welcome back to the Shmuseum. Well, we're not actually staying at the Shmuseum, as I'm sure the suitcase and rucksack on my back would tell you. I'm actually off traveling once again. It seems like I've only just arrived back from Dubai. But I'm actually flying out to LA, California, which is quite cool. I've only been to America once before, so it's quite a big trip. But we're off to meet Shmarc 150 and the guys from Mercedes-Benz to drive the new EQS AMG, which I know Marc has driven the standard EQS before, and he said he's quite looking forward to seeing how much better the AMG model is. But as I was leaving, I've just spotted these, which are Tim's old Abarth 595 alloys. They're called the Petals in the Abarth scene, and they've been refurbed by the guys at Whoops, and they look insane. Now, we've had a few messages before. We mentioned that we don't know what to do with them, and some of you guys said, make them into a coffee table, put them on the wall, display them. But I think we're gonna sell these so that another Abarth owner can have these lovely wheels on their car. We don't want them to go to waste. So if you're interested, drop us a message on the Shmuseum Instagram channel and we'll see what we can sort out. But anyway, I've got an Uber waiting outside, so I guess I better hit the road.
Welcome to Palm Springs, where Brad and I are today driving the EQS 53, which is AMG's first, between exclamation marks, electric vehicle. We're going to go on the road, on the highways here, back to LA to catch our flight later today. But before doing so, have a look around this lovely, environment we're in. Nice blue sky, palm trees. Check the mountains in the back, absolutely brilliant. And yes, we're gonna drive the EQS 53. I drove this car, or like the normal version, non-AMG version, in July earlier this year. So for me, it's really interesting to see how this is gonna handle and perform. But let's have a quick look at the car, and you can see some of the changes which are specific for the AMG version. You see a new front grille, which is really like AMG style. Some new wheels, 20 and 20-inch design wheels are available. And then next to that, we have on the rear, we have a spoiler and a diffuser, which are also specific for the AMG version. And next to that, underneath, there's of course many AMG features, and in the interior we'll see some AMG features as well, which we'll discuss on the drive. But I think that Brad is going to take the wheel right now and gonna have an initial experience in the new EQS.
We've jumped into the EQS then, and it's a very nice place to be. The MBUX screen is ridiculously big, but very cool. Now, when we start it, it's just down here, the start button, you get the AMG sound. There it is, that's pretty cool. Let's turn the radio off, and you can see how big this display is. Anyway, let's hit the road.
We're on our way back to LA. Check out this view.
How many windmills can you count?
It's mental. And we're enjoying ourselves a lot here in the EQS and using this immense hyperscreen in front of us, which has a little display for me as well as the passenger.
So you've got some of the sort of power and engine torque and the data of what the car's doing. I've got CarPlay with Waze set up. Mercedes' own sat-nav is very good, but I thought I'm driving in America on the wrong side of the road, let's call it, in a left-hand drive car, which I've never done before. Not properly anyway. I've moved a few around the garage, the GT and the SLS, but this is my first actual drive in a left-hand drive car, if we ignore the fact that I've driven the SL. So I was like, okay, Waze, I'm used to it. We'll bring a few sort of home comforts to that, and then obviously I have my driver dash display with speed, and again, horsepower, pound-foot of torque and everything else. So it's all set up very nice, and we've been messing around with some of the settings, the recuperation, which you can change from normal. You can put it up into no recuperation, so when you lift off of the accelerator, it just cruises along, or you can put it into strong, so as soon as you lift off, you can essentially drive with one pedal, which is cool. It's just trying to find which setting I prefer the most, which I think for now is just normal, but yeah, we're making some good progress. We've got quite a big drive, but like Marc said, this scenery is ridiculous. It's crazy.
So we're stuck in traffic heading into LA, and we're on our way to Venice Beach because, with this kind of weather, we definitely want to go to the beach. But in the meantime, let's have a look on the side of the interior. And this massive hyperscreen, 1.40 meters in width, and all the little details, which are, you know, like the carbon fiber, the Alcantara, all little AMG details across the interior. Also look at the back. We have some decent space. We have a nice panoramic roof, and then as you can see here, we are currently fully in a Christmas theme inside of the car.
Watch out. Vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
And we are middle of traffic mayhem. But yeah, some lovely features, some AMG specific things in the menu. And then of course we have the AMG steering wheel, which is Brad holding right now. And you are currently in fully autonomous mode, I think.
Yeah, well, as autonomous as I think you can currently get. So adaptive cruise control that tracks the cars in front. So my foot right now is just hovering around the brake. When we come to a standstill, the car slows down and will fully stop. As soon as the cars in front move, it picks back up again and carries on, which is a very weird feeling, but it works pretty well.
Yeah. And there's some interesting things as well. So the guys at AMG, to make a bit of noise, they added some interesting sound feature, which you can set via the little buttons.
So you can
on the
do it
steering
all.
wheel.
It's the same as many of the other AMGs. The GT Black Series has similar things. You've obviously got the right one, which controls the dynamic select. So individual we've set up with sport drive and comfort suspension and balanced sound, which essentially is silent. You can obviously go through comfort. You have slippery as well, or wet, which we were told up in some of the mountains it was very icy this morning, so we've avoided them. And then you have sport, which you get a little bit more noise. Nothing too crazy, just a little bit, and then you can go up into
Watch
Sport
out.
Plus.
Roadworks reported on the road
When that
ahead.
stops, roadworks, which we are in, which you can also control from this left button. You can change the suspension, so we can put the sound on and put it back into comfort, but you get some pretty awesome noises when you accelerate. Sounds very futuristic, which is quite cool.
Yeah, so let's continue the drive. I will jump behind the wheel as well in a few, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight into the driving dynamics after I drove the EQS, the normal one, so the non-AMG one in July, and now the AMG version, which yesterday Brad and I took up to a mountain pass together with the new SL, and I'm going to share a little bit of how the experience was on the twistings.
Fast forward a little bit then, and we are in more traffic, just driving past downtown LA, which is really cool. I can only think of Grand Theft Auto 5 and playing that game and driving around there on a video game, which is quite cool. But Mark has now taken the wheel, and we're carrying on over to Venice Beach.
Yep, and we are almost there. I think pretty much like half an hour left, a little bit of traffic still. And driving the EQS AMG feels quite different from the EQS 580 that I drove in Switzerland in July, which I didn't really glue with that car. So there's the braking, the steering, the setup of the suspension. You know, I had a few things to say in my written review. You might have read it. And with this car, that's all fixed, because the steering is way more connected, while there's a lovely charger driving past, you just can see. Yeah, this car is just, the steering is better. It gives you better feeling, especially on the mountain pass that we drove yesterday. You can really feel that the car is more connected to the road. You get more feedback to the steering. They improved the braking feel, which was absolutely something I didn't connect with at all. The ride control is much better. It gives you just a touch more sportiness, which this car really needed, and which I didn't feel in the normal 580 model. Yeah, job well done by AMG, I must say. And of course, this is not a full Brad AMG model, of course, but it just has these points to make it more sporty, more connected, and it gives you a bit more, you know, like feeling, because the 580 was so soulless, you didn't connect to it at all, and this just gives you a little more performance as well. So yeah, if you're ever going to opt for this kind of, you know, model, just take the AMG Dynamic package, which gives you, you know, the additional performance. You have 560 kilowatt, 1000 newton meters of torque. Yeah, it's just, you know, I would definitely opt for the AMG over the normal two models. It's just there's little tidbits that make it that much better to drive, and yeah, if you have the chance to try both, I think you will also experience that the AMG is just a little bit more of a driver's car, although that's you know, this is definitely not a Taycan, you know, definitely not a Taycan. Don't think about that. That's definitely more drivers and more sporty car than this is. This is still like a luxury electric vehicle with a sporty nature. But yeah, let's go to Venice Beach and have a little of a final moment there with the car before we are heading back to Europe. Now we have a Lucid Air.
I have never seen one of them before.
No, me neither. It's the first time. Yesterday I saw a Rivian as well, so R1T I think it's called, truck. So you see some of these new electric models that are here in the area and we've not seen in Europe yet, so it's pretty cool.
Just behind this building, I'm zooming in, we're going to see if we can find the Hollywood sign, which, there it is, up in the distance. It's a shame we're not any closer to it, but that's obviously something which we'll have to visit another time. We've arrived then at Venice Beach and it is lovely out. It's exactly what you'd expect from California, but you may be wondering, what's this puddle from? And yesterday, we've been here for a few days, we drove the new AMG SL, but it was in torrential rain, which seems really rare for out in California, but I'll insert 1 or 2 clips now, just so you can have a look at it. But yes, we've made it to Venice Beach, the sun is shining and the car is looking really good. But just quickly, Mark's going to run us through his final thoughts on the EQS.
Yes, and the EQS 53 AMG is definitely a much better, more sporty and handling car than the 580 that I drove in July. I really enjoyed this a lot more. The 2 days, because yesterday we drove it as well. And yes, if you have a chance to have a go in an EQS, definitely drive this one. So that's about it. You know, I'm going to enjoy the Venice Beach. I've never been here before, so it's my first time here. And then yeah, I'll catch a plane back to Europe. So let's go back to the Shmuseum and you know, let's us enjoy a little bit more of the Venice Beach.
I'm back at the Shmuseum and it's actually a few days later than when I did land because jet lag hit me quite hard. That is the one issue with traveling 8-hour time zones behind and then having to travel back. So I've had a few days rest just to recover and try and get my sleeping pattern back into something of normality. But it's great to be back here and things have changed quite a bit from when I last saw it and when you guys saw it. The Clio has stayed put with all the car covers on and there was 4 cars lined up along this back line, including the Senna and the 4 GT, which have now gone for their annual service and MOT. Over this way, Tom has very nicely, actually, I'll give that to him, lined up all of the rest of the Shmuseum down the back wall, including the RS3, which I've missed driving, and I believe Tom's been using it quite a lot because it's absolutely filthy and there's a lot more mileage on it than when I last used it. So yeah, I think Tom must have been enjoying that, but look at that, filthy. So I think that's going to be due a wash when I next take it out, and maybe I'll send Tom the bill. Tom can pay that. But anyway, all the cars are lined up and looking great. Our guest cars, the 812 GTS and the Gunther Works, might be leaving fairly soon. So it'll be a shame because that Ferrari sounds insane when it started, but they might be leaving, so maybe we'll have to find one ourselves, who knows. But on to what we've been up to today, just to end the video, and it's a shame we didn't take you guys along, but you will have seen some photos, hopefully, fairly soon at least, of the GT8. Now, I had never been out in the GT8, and me and Tom needed some lunch, so we jumped into the GT8 and went to get some photos and get some food. And in doing so, we've actually got it very dirty. Now this side isn't too bad, so we're actually going to loop all the way around to the driver's side because at this time of year it's very muddy out, the roads are dirty, country lanes are full of mud and puddles, and yeah, it looks like we've taken it off-roading, which I can promise we haven't. It's just the way that the roads are at the moment. But what an insane car. Obviously haven't driven it, but from the passenger seat, the noise, the way it moves, the way it rides, and the way it looks like a proper race car is just insane. But I think that pretty much sums up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along with me and Shmarc out to LA to drive the EQS AMG. Thank you for watching. Until next time.